know what you want me to say.
Say something.
If you're so unhappy, maybe it's time to...
I know. Let's just get through Christmas.
They're here.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey. Smile pretty. See? Cool.
Mine's exactly like his except pink.
Chad, Ashley, it's so good to see you. How was the drive? And, oh, I'm sorry about your leg.
I'm going to give commentary
How was the drive?
about what's going on. If you want to hear me blabber on, you probably want to go down below. They can't hear us out there.
Makes sense to me.
Scooch up this way.
But
All right. Are we on? Thank you, Dan.
We? Since when did you get in on the action?
I had to keep my eyes on the road, Dave, and press on.
So first thing you'll notice is kind of obvious, huh?
Right.
We went through all of our practice season. And the character with the crutches walked in on,
How are you?
what was that, yesterday?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, walked in yesterday and it's like, Troy, I have a problem. If you want to move over here, by all means. If it's hard to hear me, come on over. You can circle up. As I don't want to talk much louder than this so that it comes across kind of nice on the
Stop.
recording for others. So anyway, we had to change her blocking significantly. Blocking meaning where she walks, who's looking at her, and making sure she could actually walk around.
Gives her a good excuse, doesn't it?
It's one of those typical things that you're not prepared for, but you have to adapt pretty much no matter what.
You can see with all the rackets she makes. You should be used to that.
I picked the right guy for the young boy.
You're looking quite smart.
Wait for a second here.
Hey, don't judge a book by its cover.
Stop
Whack.
it, Kurt. Thank you, Aunt Ashley.
She had a lot of fun practicing that.
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
They have good chemistry.
Mom.
Everyone in the show, of course, is loving each other, learning about each other. Had a great time doing this.
Don't worry about me.
There's some other side stories like, where did we get the couch? So we went around a bunch of Facebook and Craigslist and, where do we find stuff? And so we had some side stories with the hutch and the couch. We got to meet people that gave us the hutch. In essence, they were trying to sell it. It was really close to the Smith's house. And they didn't buy it earlier when they saw it. And then Bev ended up at the same place. And the lady was talking about the church. And she's like, well, you can just have it. She called Bill. And Bill's like,
How's it going?
that's the same hutch we wanted. And now it's free? Perfect. And we'll go pick it up. And we'll bring it to the place. So here it is. And they're going to take it to the Smith's house afterwards. And it was one they wanted anyway. And we were able to invite that lady and the family to come. And I believe they came. And of course heard the message that we're putting out there. So a really fun side story.
Did you bring him, Grandpa?
The guy who we got the couch was from the Ukraine. We met them they're just over northeast Rochester. Anthony was his name. Brandon Miosi and I went to pick up the couch and we were telling them all about it. I didn't have a flyer, so Brandon took another one later. It's like, okay, now the flyers are done. Get it back to him so he knew and could also get invited and see if he could come.
I don't have any more left.
Hey,
The little Bibles they have, they are actual Bibles, like a New Testament kind of a thing, or maybe the Book of John, which of course is great. But how do you make sure that the same 5 Bibles get back to the same person each show? You're like, Craig Frisk is our grandpa. He's like, well, where'd the Bibles go? I need them back. Of course, we have child actors. They're 8 years old or so. And so you can imagine they aren't always thinking about where did the Bible go? Why did it matter? So we have to drill that in sometimes. But that's true for the adults too. Where's the suitcase? Where's my ledger? Where's my feather? There's always something that you got to remember where they went.
How do I know when to
Was
tag
your
out?
Ukrainian family a Christian family?
No.
Good grief, Steph. You're making this much harder.
No,
than
they
it
were
should
not,
be.
as far as I could tell. We didn't have a really long conversation.
Great that you were able
Yeah. No, I don't think that they made it. But I didn't see them anyway. I don't see everybody. So my acting advice for this this game scene was, well, how do you treat your family? Like, you want to win the game, right? So let's make those kind of expressions. And of course, it's a musical, so you have to throw in this same chorus over and over. But you'll notice that when they start to sing it, they all have to start at the same time, 4 different times. Right now they're doing a solos, but you'll hear the pianist play a chord, bom, and that's like everybody's signal to start at the same time without necessarily having a choir director.
Men on this side, women over here.
She had a lot of fun at doing that too. Now they're not actual brothers and sisters in real life, but some of the casting you can't really pick and choose. As it says in the playbill, 2 of the main characters, Seth and Pam, are played by brother and sister, but they're married as cast. There's another character. He's in the back behind the couch right now, Brandon Miosi. He's been in a good number of our plays. The funny piece about that is he's had, we think it's 4 or 5 play wives, because he was married to a bunch of different people in the plays.
Sure, you guys wanna go
And he wasn't actually married in real life until just a few years ago. So he went from being single to actually being married, and it was kind of
We're on letter A.
funny to kid them about that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, no, accident.
Got it. You dig deep.
Boy.
Blubber mouth.
Hey, that's cheating.
Bossy.
Hey.
You can take off if you want.
McKinney, the young one that was just pointing at the boy,
Time. Okay,
didn't
yeah.
show up with her hair like
Let me show
that
you how it's
until,
done.
Whatever.
I don't know, just the last week? Some Wednesday? Yeah, like 2 days before our opening night. All the costumes were kind of approved and things like that, but they constantly improve them. And so she walked in and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're cute. So don't change that. That was awesome.
Oh my! Cartwheel!
No, remember, we're on A.
Jacob only dropped his microphone once when trying to do this bit. So we
Awkward.
we had to make sure that was pretty well secured. Some of the other kids run around and hug or jump off something, so quite a bit of securing of the microphones to make sure we don't, lose any of those while this is going on.
Fairy. Bird.
She wasn't supposed to guess fairy because it's the boys' turn.
Bumblebee.
Bill tried to do the cocoon
What? No fair. The
on the
girls are way
ground
longer than that.
for a while, and we're like,
Don't say anything. You guys.
"Are you a worm, Bill? What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm a cocoon." I'm like, "Well, the audience can't see you because you're on the floor." So he's like, "Whoa, I guess I'll stand up then."
Clobber? I have never seen this side of her.
I sure have.
Combat? Oh, thank heavens, I don't think I could have
So,
gone on much
so
longer.
I love that scene. And yesterday, Misty, who was the grandma, she told me, "Did you know that I have a hole in my jeans now from doing that scene?"
You're wasting time.
That's the road.
Just the rug burn.
Too hard.
Yeah, so
Okay,
quite a
guys,
sacrifice
here's
there.
your chance to catch up. Mark, you're still on.
What? I still have to do butterfly again?
Okay, ladies, come up with another B word.
There are rules you must follow. Play the game. Every person takes a turn. Play the game.
So I get something out of it each time I watch from a different perspective. And one thing I have not seen until just now was that McKinney, the young girl, took her Bible and she has it in her hand from Grandpa, and she's reading it occasionally. like as if this is precious to me and carrying it around now that Grandpa gave it to her. I didn't know she did that. That's awesome.
Ballerina.
Go, Grandpa. UFC.
So you're saying that Bill is the comic relief? There you go, Bill.
Got it, Grandpa?
Now, I wasn't sure if this would always be clear, especially from the beginning. It's hard to introduce
Here, Dad, take me.
exactly what each character is like very quickly. And so Grandpa has the beginning stages of dementia.
Cody, I'll need your help for this.
And if you've seen the play, then you kind of get that by the end. But by this point in the scene, it was a little bit harder
No fair. I
to
got
get that
That's
recognizable. I don't know if that came across to you or not.
Okay,
Good
Mom.
to me.
D.
Very good, Craig.
I'll take Ashley.
You have to try it first.
No, give somebody else a chance.
Everybody takes a turn.
I've played enough.
So are you giving up?
I just can't do this.
Mom?
I'm done playing games. Anybody hungry?
I think Pam's right. We've done enough for today.
Holly, you want to help me?
I guess the girls win.
It's a shame if you don't join in and play the
Huh. Third time, Jacob remembered to wait for the applause.
It should have been a tie. What was Mom's word anyways?
Divorce.
A good cliffhanger. It hits home for many people, including myself. But as we keep saying, that God can overcome anything. It was a little hard to keep the family straight, even for the cast and me, because we have, I think it's 18 cast, and a family tree. So in the playbill, I put the hierarchy of the family so that the audience could like follow along. Oh, this is Grandma and Grandpa. Who are the kids of Grandma and Grandpa, and who are their grandkids? So part of the practices were, we're just new at this, but who's your mom? Who's your dad? Who's your aunt? Who's Grandpa? Which ones are your grandkids? Which ones aren't? So they had a test.
And then did the pictures last night. After the
Yeah.
Howdy, everyone.
Those pictures were printed very late. We had to get costumes and everything before we took them.
Do you know how
I took
early
them
it is?
production week just a few days ago. I got them to Walgreens at 1:30 a.m. on Friday morning.
Doesn't the early bird catch
And
the worm?
the poster, the bigger one, printed right away, and they weren't done with the rest, and we were in the queue.
Good early.
But when I went there and I described to them, you know, are they done yet? No, I don't think they've been kicked off. And I was talking about the play, and the ladies are like, oh, well, let's just make it happen. Punch, hits a button, and like, they'll be done soon. Like, oh, well, thank you. That's awesome then. I mean, it just means I didn't have to drive across town again. But it was nice so I could get them up and have them there the whole time.
Square dancing and a
When you
hayride in
direct
the
that
snow
Yeah, every little better, quicker thing is huge. Yeah, the pictures are a little bit oversaturated, but that's so that you can, meaning the color is bold. If you walk right up to them, are a little too bold, but from here, and you can kind of get a better idea of what it's like.
and even
Bev is awesome
a
also.
country western band. I was lucky.
So Bev tells me that she couldn't keep her southern
Billy Joel.
accent,
As in the piano.
always
Billy
there.
Joel?
but she's doing pretty good at it to me. And she's like, oh, I sound terrible. No, Bev, you are doing awesome.
We were thinking more simple, Madge. Our barn is only so big, and we're more than happy to help the walkers, but the point is to raise as much money as
It's
we
pretty
can
easy
them.
for us to
We
see it
don't need a lot of
and
added
envision
expenses.
because the whole thing is there. But when we first started, all we had were folding chairs. So I measured the stage and put some marks in our fellowship hall because the stage had piano and there's all kinds of things all over the stage which are in your way. So we had an empty space in the fellowship hall, set up chairs, and made those blue walls, these partitions that we can move around, and made those the walls. So it gave them a way to sort of envision, but then you can't, there's no cupboards, there's no refrigerator, there's not really a table that's the right size. And then the folding chairs were funny because everybody kept setting up 5 or 6 chairs like where the couch is. I'm like, no, the couch isn't that big. You have to move a couch. You can't have a couch that big. You have to squeeze 3 people on here. But it's hard to envision. And then we finally get it and go, ah, I see.
Come on in, guys. You can sit up right here in front of the couch.
Madge, who are these people?
Well, it's the band, silly. They're here so that you can hear them play. I was fortunate enough to get them, and for free.
Everybody, of course, is doing a super great job. But this year we did have 3 people that had to drop out for various reasons. And Bev was the one that came in the latest. So we were already practicing. And I, say it every year, but God provides. Who do I need to do this? Will it happen? Will there be enough people? So I just depend on the Lord, and Bev showed up and is like, I know it's late into it. She had to memorize real quick, kind of get going, and totally awesome. I love the flashing lights. All of the cast had to do their own costumes. So you can see that somebody had the idea for the jammies. It's super great. Like Grandma and Grandpa gave us a pair and we all have to wear them when we're together. But at one point I was sitting in the front row.
Would you like some coffee?
And the lights were off or something, and that we were playing with getting everything set. And then the lights came on in scene 2 and I was like, that's a lot of plaid. Because there were plaid shirts in the band, as well as the plaid pajamas and plaid vests. I was like, oh, maybe we overdid it a little, I'm not sure.
I can't find it. You can't find what?
I like the Bible.
I can't find it anywhere. It's probably in your room somewhere. No, I looked.
Maybe you just got mixed up in your cover.
Kind of drives
No, I took them all out.
The country theme?
No, I looked there too. I can't find it. Come on, Emma, let's go find it.
Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing about the children, but you know how children talk 90 miles a minute?
Why did you agree to this?
They're doing super awesome at slowing it down, and so that you can hear what they're saying. That interaction right there just was great. We had the one line that Peyton kind of focused on. This is Spider-Man for Nintendo. It's Kurt's. And then we asked him to draw out the next step. He's old. And so for a while there it was super quick, and then he's old, and then quick again. But they're super improved.
But her heart's in the right place. I know we couldn't pull up.
You currently can see Zeke, the character Aaron, coming down to Mom.
The one that Grandpa gave me?
There's that little steps, and the wall there represents they're going upstairs in the house.
Bedroom, and I've looked here. I can't find
So there's some fun things about that because there's not really an upstairs. They can't actually be backstage. And so what if you can see their feet or something sticking out? One time we had pretty much they were getting the gist of it, and then I think it was Zeke who he put his hand around the outside and he just left it there so we could see his hand the whole time. But it was a trick making that kind of noise proof. Here it is.
Nintendo must be Kurt. He's old.
I don't know.
Very well done, Peyton.
We could pray. My dad said that never hurts.
We could try that, but how do we know if he hears us?
I don't know. At least it might make you feel better.
Maybe.
Howdy doody, everyone.
I think it's so awesome that the plot and the theme flow through with the character Aaron, who just said, well, maybe it can help. And he sings later, "Are you there, Jesus?" the prayer. And that coming from the mouth of a child is super powerful.
I don't know if you're real or not, but if you are, can you bring back my little Bible? I don't know what else to do. Are you there, Jesus? Will you answer my prayer? Do you care, Jesus? Are you working down here? I've been told that you love me, and you know what I feel, and I pray that you'll hear me. Please show me your real.
Awesome job.
Are you all ready?
I didn't ask for the cowbells,
Now,
but
give
they
your
are very
best.
interesting. And they add a level of excitement that has never been there before. It's kind of interesting. It fits with the theme, so, you know, if you did like medieval, would that work? You know, I don't know.
Old time Hickory Band.
Old time country Christmas jamboree. We gather with the family round the tree.
Now, typically, people are clapping for songs and things, right? Like this one, you might feel to clap along. Some of the songs that doesn't fit, but this year, there's a lot more of that. So we're asked to cast in a lot of places where they clap. But think about a clap and a microphone. And so, right now, Christy's not doing too bad. We asked them to clap down by their knees. Sorry, Christy, if you hear this, but she was kind of mid-range, right? Too close to the microphone. If we could get it a little farther away.
It was okay, if you like that sort of thing.
All right, hold on here. Do you guys know any real Christmas music?
Do we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from Ed's house Christmas Eve.
Maybe we could do more traditional Christmas
You talking about Sam Myers?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing is that there are so many people have stepped out of their comfort zone to help make a message come across. And that's like some people's favorite part. That song right there. That was hilarious. I think it was Gabby who wanted to come back and watch just for that.
Maybe even hand out some prizes.
Father-in-law.
Let's not forget what we're trying to do here.
You know, Seth, if we could make people happy, a happy man is soon parted with his money.
I'm pretty sure a fool and his money are soon parted.
If this was all about money, no one would come. Let's face it, these are hard times for all of us. We could all use a dose of joy these days. I agree with Madge.
That's right. It's Christmas. What better time?
The usher just came by. Brooke, to count.
Spread a little joy, spread
I'm just talking about you.
happiness. There is so much gloominess.
We get a count of all the attendees about now.
Spread a little joy, spread a little happiness. We all need sunshine to brighten our lives. It seems that no one ever laughs anymore. To crack a smile would be a sin. I think if happiness would knock at your door, you'd refuse to let her in. Spread a little joy, spread a little happiness. There is too much gloominess that darkens the sky, so spread a little joy, spread a little
Yay, she spun around.
We all need sunshine
You
to brighten
think about
our lives.
how do you encourage people to step out of their comfort zone and do something else? So on a given night, I'll be like, hey, you should try this. And often they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. The spin from Bev there was one of them. But eventually, they're like, you know, it's not that bad. I could step out of my comfort zone. That goes to general life. Like if you... I can't hear you. General life, like if you were trying to share the gospel with somebody, you can't do that unless you step out of your comfort zone. This is like a mentorship, teaching, and behind the scenes. This is not just about the show. It's about growing us and the people in the show at the same time.
Well, Aaron, you sound like a buzzard.
Don't you mean canary?
Grandpa always tells me, keep your eyes on the sun and you will not see the shadows.
So,
Spread a little joy, spread a little happiness. There's too much gloominess that darkens the sky. So spread a little joy, spread a little happiness.
The hands of what? Oh, yes. They moved over to the other couch. There's some cheerleading going on over there that you couldn't always see, so we moved them, and it's just a constant little changes here and there. Very nice.
So I'm a big one for to-do lists, so I've divided out jobs.
I need more coffee.
Seth.
Timing is fun.
In
It's
charge of the barn
tough
setup,
sometimes. Like if you only have one line and that's all you have in the whole scene, you'd be like lost in listening to people. And so every once in a while, everybody's waiting for the, I need more coffee. And it's forgotten, right? Sorry, Brandon. But it only happened a little. And of course, we're there now. But some of the things we do
Isn't there something I can do?
by just adding extra stuff. Yeah, ask them occasionally, and that was one of them. So one time, Brandon just happened to be in the right place, and Pam was offering the coffee and had the cup just out, and we didn't plan it, but Brandon just grabbed it and walked through. Like, oh, well, that worked. Why don't you do that again? And we just keep those little things.
Just remember, all work and no play makes Seth a crazy boy.
Dull boy.
That too.
There's, of course, a ton of technology and things. That little keyboard there is actually run by battery because we didn't want chords and have to mess, so we got one that had batteries. They wear out and things, but that wasn't... The funny part was that Reggie didn't know how to use it. I mean, it's new to him. Where are the keys, you know? So we're in practice, and then he'd start to play and nothing was happening. Like, oh, well, that didn't go. What in the world? And then, you know, another time, he's trying to get it when it's not his turn, and he's doing something, and it starts to play a demo song. Like, whoa, what is that? What are you... wrong time. So, another fun piece. Eric Stoddard-Allen at the piano is very talented. He is doing both keyboard and piano this year. Usually we stick him on one, but for one of the characters we wanted to transpose the music into a different key and have a different sound, or be able to put in like a banjo or a fiddle or things like that. But he decided not to have it in an L shape. Like, here's a keyboard over here, and then on my left is a keyboard over here. We gave him a foot pedal so he could turn the lights on and off. But at one point, I don't remember which song it was, but he has to go back and forth then, since it's not in an L. And he grabbed his papers, went to the keyboard, and we're waiting, and it didn't happen. Like, what's up? And he ran back to the piano. He picked up his script instead of the music, and then took the music with him. And so he's like, oh, I grabbed the wrong thing, because they were separate from each other.
Something like this can happen to any of us.
But he's got a friend that's in the t-shirt printing business. We didn't really need much for t-shirts this year, but he's been helping us with that. He's got one on that says the Landrys and has a farm on the back. John 14:6 on the back with the Bible verse, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. We can wear after the show or before the show, but we didn't have a really needed for it as far as costumes go. So we have a few of them out there, but it's fun to make it, do all the, but I hand that over to other folks, and so many people help out.
Some things are out of our control, out of our hands. Your dad's illness, for one.
Dad's got some good years left.
What a tough way to finish. Slowly forgetting everyone and everything you've known.
Boy, someone needs a better night's sleep tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
It looks like things are going well for you.
Every once in a while,
Don't be so excited about it.
they would build up to their piece of this scene, and of course, every actor is waiting for the lines of somebody else. What am I going to say is based on what they're saying, and you can't just necessarily ad-lib, or you won't know exactly where they are. So if she gets to the end of that little piece and doesn't say, maybe so, which I think happened once, and then Brandon and Ben over here are like, are we supposed to start? And so it depends on where you are in the practice season. When we get closer to opening night, you don't get any help you're like, you have to improv something or figure it out. I'm not going to stand up and go, they said maybe so.
She found us down the road before he got too far, but
or pretend like they said maybe so.
Ever since.
Do you think it's time to...
Don't say it.
It's got to be hard for Mom to realize he's not the man he used to be.
For all of them.
Ben Walters has to be off for work, and we know that ahead of time. Still, like everyone, he does a super awesome job, so I don't want him to not be in the play. So I have to deal with the schedule. So production week, Ben was not here on Wednesday and Thursday. So I filled in for him, just trying to walk around with my script. And that's not a problem as long as I'm saying all the lines and I'm pretty much where Ben is. Trying to act like Ben does it. I mean, I put my own flair in it, I guess. I got accused of bringing us down. But they're just joking. But when it happened, he's got this string of lights in his hand, and he's going to toss them at his brother. Say, here, help me with these. He's trying to distract him, change the subject, you know. Well, those lights, when I was doing it, they got kind of strung out, and they were in this crate on that bench. And I had, like, my first time back over there. And I pushed the bench back, and then it took a step towards it, and I went crunch, 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 and I broke a bunch of the lights. I was like, oh. And, okay, now it's blackout, and the next thing's happening, and I can't pick this up. Somebody gonna hope they got their shoes on. They're just a little plastic thing, so it really wasn't any danger, but my little foible.
You don't need to explain. I'm sorry I brought it up.
There's nothing wrong with us if that's what you're worried about. We're okay.
Do you like where you are?
We're fine. We're fine.
I'm sorry, Holly. It's not you. It's Seth and I.
What is it?
I don't think we're going to make it.
So, what about you? Apart from Dad...
See, he's checking out the lights that I broke.
You know, ups and downs, like everybody.
Like what?
What is this, Dr. Phil?
You're my brother, aren't you?
So?
So can't a guy know what eats at his brother?
Why?
Why not?
Look at us. We're as different as night and day. I'm an ordinary guy who never left the farm he grew up on. You're this business executive in the city. What do we have in common?
A childhood, parents, values. Forget. Sorry I asked.
I'm not good at this, Chad. It's nothing personal.
We've grown up, Seth.
I'm just not used to talking about myself.
We'll give it a shot. Tell me something good about your life.
Well, my family's healthy. I've got food on the table every day. I suppose that's something.
Yep.
I still enjoy farming. Keeps me occupied all day so I don't have to
started calling what Brandon's doing the tree walk.
Like Dad?
Dad. Oh, yeah.
Because he has to not be in shadow when he's trying to say his words and still make eye contact, but he's supposed to decorate the tree.
Don't change the subject.
So good luck with that. They're doing great. But there's a plane of standing next to each other where the lights are the best. And if you stand outside of that, then you end up casting a shadow, or just they can't see you, that the tree is blocking you. So we had some fun. I had some fun, I guess, poking fun at Brandon.
Of course not. Not the almighty.
The tree is taking your stage, Brandon.
What do you know about it, Junior?
That's all you ever think of me. Why'd I expect things to be different?
Pam's not happy, okay?
What?
Are you happy? You got the big secret.
These two are not
better?
brothers, blood brothers in real life,
I don't know.
but they are brothers-in-law.
Something that I'm not. I
No.
can't do anything right.
So
then I work all day, but then she
when you
complains that
argue
I'm
with
never
your
home.
brother,
Maybe
you know, what
she'd
would
be
you
better
throw
off
something
without
at him?
That's
Huh?
not
You might.
happy
So
with me.
we have these props and things, and at first
miserable.
they had nothing in their hands.
How did
So
they
it's
get
like,
here?
well, pretend like what you do with your real brother.
What do you mean?
I don't know, I'd walk away or something. Think of something else. So eventually when they had stuff in their hand, I'm like, Ben, Throw it at him. So I think we help me with these lights. I don't know how hard it came across this time, but I'm thinking, you know, treat it like you really do and make it funny. Of course, it's difficult in a scene like this. There's always a little bit of humor, but there's always the reality too. And you can really see it on their faces. Maybe not, we're way far away here. But watch the video afterwards, you know, when the cameras can get close and you'll see stuff that you didn't see before that will be new to you even after if you've watched it 3 times.
I can't penetrate. I'm angry at him when he's gone and uncomfortable when he's home.
I'll let him sing this song without talking, but how does he hear her and her hear him? They're trying to sing together, but they're way far apart.
Place. I wonder how, I wonder why. Here we are at this time, different people, separate lives. Looking back, it's so hard to see. Was there a time when we both stopped caring? We are at this time, different people, separate lives.
How did we get here? I can't recall. When did I stop being his all in all? How did we get here? I'll never know. Where do we go?
Here we are in this place. What caused the change? I can't explain. Here we are at this time, feeling hurt, feeling pain. Looking back, it's so hard to see. Was there a time when we both stopped caring? Here we are at this time, different people, separate lives. Where do we go from here?
Obvious. Well done. Very well done. But the song was written slightly different, and Ben was supposed to sing a part where he was like going, carrying way up high. So at first it was kind of funny because he couldn't reach the notes. So, not his fault or anything, but we switched it so that they would go the other direction and then, you know, still harmonize. But it was comical hearing Ben try to get there at first. We are going to get to the Hoedown here, and I have a cameo in the Hoedown, so at some point I'll walk out. We'll just leave our little recording here going, but I'll get that done, and then an intermission will happen, and so I won't be coming back until scene 5. Bill Smith is funny. Is that what you just said? In the Hoedown? I think he's funny the whole time. I was trying to get a actual wagon here, see if we could pull it in and put it just over to the left by the trees like it's on the street. Couldn't find one small enough. No, maybe we could put one outside, but I sort of asked a little bit too late to kind of get that to happen. So that didn't happen. But the barn itself, we went hunting for wood, people will tear down their barns, and crafting, people buy it all the time. And so there was a number of people out there selling stuff. And I found one down in Grand Meadow. And I contacted him over, it was like a Facebook, I think. And I said, well, we're looking for barnwood for this play for our musical. I don't really have, a big budget. I can't really buy your wood. So, if you have some extra or whatever, you want to donate that, that'd be awesome. Or you can just tell me to go away and whatever, that's fine. So he writes back and he said, oh, really? You know what? I haven't been having a lot of bites. I want this barn down now, and it's for a church. You can come and get as much as you want. So Elijah Onstead and I drove down to Grand Meadow, and the guy, Kevin, he even helped us put his little tractor up there, and we'd go up and down and tearing off these pieces that were vertical on the barn. So some of them actually have red on the edge on one end because they were way up and protected, and then the rest is not. Some of them are so worn away that it's not just a look, it's texture, it's deep grooves and things. So we brought them back and we power washed them and cleaned them because they were a bit yucky. But we got like 45 12-foot boards from the guy down there. So this was just awesome. Yeah, and so some have said, well, hey, why don't you put it up as a background for church for a while? Just as something different to decorate the place. So we'll see. But we had a chance to invite Kevin and his family up. I didn't see them come either, but later we mailed them one of the flyers. We weren't done yet, so we mailed it down there. So thanks to Heather and office people that are doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. The quilt raffle had a whole bunch of financial and keeping track, and we're going to draw for the quilt tonight. You'll see it here in a moment. At first, the scene didn't really have anybody out here because they were on a hay rack ride, so they're outside, right? As they're walking in, we decided to have the Sunday school kids come in and sort of get dressed and ready so there's something going on. One of the teenagers' favorite things is those snowballs, though. Every year I get pelted with a snowball. Can we do the snowballs? They came last year as a surprise to me. I didn't even know they existed, and all of a sudden I had 10 snowballs at me. Which is awesome. So we're using it again. They even talk about it, though, snow, hayride in the snow in the songs and that kind of thing. We also had, not really donated, but the horse saddles and all the bridles and that kind of stuff. Things called single trees and the antlers and things, just to add a lot of character to it, came from lots of different people. So some of it, of course, is not ours, and we have to give it back. But I'm not a horse person. I got this stuff and I put it up. I would assume that the horse blankets are supposed to be on top, because when you go to get on your horse, you grab the blanket and then the saddle, not the saddle and then the blanket. So I would assume when it's put away, the blanket's on top, but it doesn't look that good. So I make a choice, well, we're just going to put it underneath anyway. But then I took all the bridles and stuff that are hanging over on the left, and I put them up there best I knew how. And the person who donated them had a picture sent to them, and she tells Kyle Brown, "You hung them all wrong." I was like, well, I don't know how to hang them because I don't do horses. So, yeah, just tell them how to fix it. And so now apparently they're hanging correctly.
There's often a very careful balance between authenticity and attracting the audience's attention and giving them what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The careful balance there with what it looks like and what they expect it to look like, or their experience in life, like if that right or wrong and it distracts them. Yeah. So in that vein, the refrigerator has kid art on it. If it had nothing on the refrigerator at all, I think, well, that doesn't look normal. Like everybody's got something on their refrigerator. And it was bare for a while. I'm like, I know, but I don't have time. Can somebody get some stuff? And I didn't even think about it, but I have art from my kids stored away. And so somebody made some, and Bev brought some. And then the ones that are on the bottom, my kids actually drew of my family when they were little.
And they have raised $43.26.
Although I'm not sure you want to stand in front of all of our set for too long. The things in the kitchen, that's a 2x2 wall with just a frame only. There's no 2x2s in the middle with paneling on the front. Now it's all set together in a great big J, and then the wall goes this way. We didn't have the red wall at first. We had a yellow one, and we decided to take out the yellow, stuff in the red, put a wall back behind, and now it's a red kitchen, and we don't have to paint it. The rest of it we painted gray to match the church back wall. But those cupboards are screwed into just a 2x2. Don't think it's going to fall down. I mean, I shook it a lot, but it's not really permanent.
And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree for
something that I think even the cast was not really aware of was
taxing was first made when Cyrus was governor of Syria.
Mary and Joseph that are there. You can see that there's the little bluish light that's kind of being blocked right now. But they kept wondering why I was messing with this light. The stage lights are going to go down a little bit, and Jacob's going to pretend hold a flashlight as if they're doing a mock little play for the Sunday school kids. But the idea is that that blue light on the ground is casting a shadow, and you can see Mary and Joseph right now on the back wall. And the kids didn't understand that until just like Thursday. And I was trying, like, look back behind you. You need to sit up on your knees really tall, because it would sit down on the ground and then there's no shadow. And some of the other cast were like, oh, I get it. So I'm going to try to get a picture of that.
The angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were so afraid. And the angel said unto them,
Do not be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy that will be to all people. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born. He will be Christ the Lord. You will find him wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger. It's here! It's here!
That's not in the script.
Look, I found one in our Bible. I thought it was us for good, but here it is.
That's wonderful. Can we get back to the presentation?
But I prayed about it, and look, it's a miracle. He's real, Jesus. He's really real, and he came here tonight, just like in the story.
Of course he's real. That's why we celebrate his birth. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away into heaven, that the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go into Bethlehem and see the
Bev came to me with that hat after a while. That wasn't in her original costume. And I was like, you need a crazy hat, Minnie Pearl. So she came with this. She goes, this crazy enough for you? Perfect.
The end.
The end.
Now I think it's time for some square dancing. Let's bring out Billy Joe and the Old Time Hickory Band. Yee-haw! Grab your partner and form your squares.
Hey, Kurt, go dance with your mother.
Come on, Dad. You know I hate country music.
Hey, this isn't exactly my favorite thing to do.
Since when do you hate country music? You don't want to dance with Mom, do you? Fine, I get it. You go dance with Aunt Holly, I'll dance with Mom.
Kurt.
Hey, Mom, do you need a partner?
Kurt.
Come on, Ellen. Let's have a little fun.
What's gotten into you?
Why, don't you remember? They used to call me Bobbin' Hoppin' Henry.
I don't remember anyone calling you that before. And besides, I don't even think you've danced a step in your life.
Well then, maybe it's time I did. Come on, honey. Let's cut her up.
Craig Frisk was our role model. He really got into this dancing thing and got the others into it.
Swing your partner around she goes.
Marjorie and Mel Walters are helping us out with a square dance. Yeah, they still teach square dance in like middle school and stuff. I never did it when I was in middle school. I didn't know how. So we had some others work on that with us, and then we didn't have enough space for two squares, nor really enough people. Then the line dance also, my brother loves to do that. He teaches line dancing all the time. Like, hey, buddy, I need some choreography. He was on vacation when I'm like, I still need this. And so he and my stepmother made a video in a kitchen at an Airbnb and sent it to me and said, oh, here, this is like the electric slide. That's pretty much what we used. So you can use that. And then I adapted a little bit, made my own video, which I won't show anybody. And then then I had Mackenzie learn it, and she'll be doing it in just a second.
While we sing of Christmas treasure. La, 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 la.
Okay. Out with the old and in with the new. Who's up for a little line dancing?
Yeah.
Well, here you go. There's your comic relief. Comes Bill. I haven't seen it from this perspective way up high, so I'm going to enjoy this. Nice. I don't know if you noticed it too, but the Old Time Hickory Band was sort of mock square dancing, you know, making fun of them from the barn loft. Here they're having to play, and so they couldn't do that.
We gather with the family round the tree. We sing the songs of Christmas, but with a country swing. With laughter and excitement you can see. An old-time country Christmas jamboree.
Y'all come back next year now, you hear?
We almost need a bigger stage, but every year we tend to use more and more of this left side, you know, and take out all the chairs so that we can just have room for the whole deal, but you can't raise them up as well.
When do you do the blanket thing?
Time now. I'm going to head out right now, so I'm going to leave you alone. You can just leave the phone here as it is.
Your tickets. Ellen Landry, will you join me up here, please?
Oh, that is not necessary.
Help me out, folks. Get her on up here.
Yeah.
Now, you all know that Ellen is known for her beautiful handiwork, and she has graciously donated a gorgeous quilt for our raffle this evening. Boys, bring that out and show the people how pretty it is. Isn't that pretty? So, Ellen, I need you to draw us the winning ticket and read us the number.
The number is 274389.
Oh, come on up and claim your prize. Yay.
Oh my. Thank you.
Now, I think it's time for a little more music, so let's have the band play some more music for us, okay? And before we call it a night.
Excuse me, does anyone know this man?
Henry?
I found him walking down the road, so I stopped to see what I can do. He seemed a little confused and unsure where he was.
I'm fine. I just stepped out for a little air.
How long were you gone?
Well, it couldn't have been that long. We were just out on the floor dancing before the raffle.
I'm fine, Ellen. It's time to go.
Hey, Dad, maybe you should just go in the house and rest a while.
I'm fine. Ellen, let's go.
Okay, all right, kids. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
I'll walk you out.
Okay, folks, let's have one more song. Hit it, y'all.
Hopefully you're all sugared up.
I'll
Lemonade,
understand that.
cookies.
Hi, Grandpa, want to play cards?
Sure, buddy. That's a great idea, Aaron.
I'll go get the cards. Grandpa, meet you in the kitchen.
Mom, we need to talk about Dad.
Of course, there were jokes about Craig being typecast.
Mom, we don't want to read
You have to act like a crazy old man, Craig.
As well as I do that. Last night was unusual.
He's not, of course, but the jokes were just so easy.
Isn't that right, Seth?
Maybe so.
There. You see? We're fine.
Mom,
I don't know if you noticed, but
him since last summer.
they tend not to sit back in the couches. Couches are quite deep, and it was very apparent right away that they couldn't stand up and sit down quickly if they sat way back in the couches. And so that we had some funny moments like, I can't get out of the couch.
Hold on a minute there, Chad. You can't just waltz in here and start telling everybody what to do. You don't really know what it's like.
Holly.
Well, I mean, is that necessary? I mean, is it really that bad?
We can't ignore what's happening, people.
You haven't been here long enough to know.
Mom, let me handle this one thing for you.
There is nothing to handle.
But it will get to that.
Yeah, but it hasn't yet. Let's not get too
I
far
spoke
ahead of
earlier of
ourselves here.
getting out of your comfort zone. Everybody has a personal bubble, right? How big is your personal bubble? When you're in theater, it needs to be relatively small. Not only will you be potentially nose to nose with somebody yelling in their face, maybe that's not your character, but you might be in the back trying to change, and everybody's got shorts and stuff on underneath, but you got like barely elbow room to try to change next to somebody. But notice how Misty is touching her children.
But doesn't it wear on you, Mom?
That was not a easy or normal thing for Misty to do. She's like, well, I don't normally, that her bubble is different. And so she, like, for several weeks, it just got to be more and more and more. And like, Misty, this is great. She's like, I don't feel bad about it or anything. I mean, this is a good thing.
Mom.
She likes saying that line, I think.
Because it isn't.
Hey, don't get
And her earlier one where she leans over and
That's great.
she had sometimes when she was sprawled way across the couch. Have you considered counseling?
Knock it off, Seth. I'm just
Overdoing it just a little.
Need your help.
What is your problem?
Boys, that's enough. It's hard enough without
She also grew her hand gestures a lot. I don't know if you talk with your hands. A lot of people always have their hands up and, you tie their hands behind their back. They can't talk.
Weren't you there last night?
Misty's not really one of those persons, but her hands have been flying freely over the last few weeks, which makes her character just pop.
What do you know about it?
I'm not arguing over matters out of my control.
Too many people don't understand that
safe and
small
say
hand
nothing.
movements mean nothing.
Say enough for all of us.
Are we in high school again?
Yeah, your distance, at least 50 feet or more, something small almost isn't noticed. Which is why earlier I didn't ever really notice the little Bible reading that McKinney was doing after they got them. And they were even doing it later in the play.
Never too late. There's always hope.
Where?
You have to push forward.
Dr. Phil, and now
And now Oprah.
It's like
Those guys always get chided in the world, right? I mean, they're celebrities. They should be used to it. So Zeke and Grandpa, they're over at the table. They have to spend their own time, pretend like they're doing their own. They're playing a game. But there were quite a number of times when the game wasn't there. The table's empty.
Yeah, but those people aren't
Of course,
giving
props
marriage
have to be
advice
where
their
they're supposed to
brothers
be.
when their own isn't in the best shape.
But Zeke, one time, he took the cards and he stuffed them all in the crack of the table. So they were sticking up like a shark fin. Like, not just one or two, like the whole deck. And so the cast came over for the next scene and they're like, what's up with the cards? Like I'm supposed to make coffee here. But like, well, Zeke, maybe you could Maybe don't do that with them. Do something else with them. This is very fun.
Hold on there, we're doing it again. We're on the same team, remember?
Tell that to Hottie.
It was very creative.
Yeah, well, maybe you.
But we also have multiple decks because we weren't sure who was going to move the cards to where they're supposed to be. But in a different scene,
No one's trying to hurt you.
Zeke goes and says, I'm going to get the cards, and he goes upstairs. But if he doesn't walk out with any cards, you know, if you're paying attention or saw this 3 times, you'd be like, well, he's not carrying anything. So, oh, the cards were on the table. Well, let's just put 2 out there. then they'll be there every time.
No, I'm not going to wallow in self-pity, not for you or anyone else. I'm going to keep my eyes straight ahead and do the best I can with what I have.
And look how happy that's made you.
I'm not sure if that's not his favorite line. It's just the sarcastic way he says it.
Mom would agree.
He hasn't changed that one since the beginning, though. I'm like, yeah, you nailed that one, Ben.
No one says you're wrong, dear. It's honorable and noble to keep looking ahead.
See?
But I understand why your brothers question you. You have no joy. Pressing on without hope is drudgery, and enduring for the sake of enduring is just missing the point entirely.
Which is?
Do you believe God can do something about it?
Of course he can.
But do you expect him to?
I don't want to detract too much from the music and things. We want to hear the message a little bit here. She's going to sing, of course, but she's standing in front of the hutch. And when we didn't have all the pieces, the couches came first, and then other things came later. The hutch was one of them. And they didn't even put the glass in the hutch for a while. It's like, oh, you got to get all the props eventually. But at least it's there so you can walk around it. And then they finished it. They put it in there. All the glass and everything. And the very first time, I'm like, I can see my reflection. I can see the clock on the back of the wall. So you can't have the glass in the hutch. And so just like somebody has no lenses in their glasses, there's no lenses in the hutch. Sorry, I got to mention the hair tussle, because she was doing her first blocking when I was sitting there in Brandon's place, because Brandon surprised us with an appendectomy. He was out in the hospital for a while, like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to be your part. And so while that was happening, Misty was figuring out her blocking, and so she came over there and like, well, if you know me, I don't have any hair. And so she's tussling my not hair. But then I'm like, well, when Brandon's here, tussle his hair. He has hair.
Have you ever watched her singing this from the front row?
Yes.
It was really precious last night to watch how closely she was watching the direction.
Yeah.
You can only tell that from the very front, but it was really neat that she was watching.
So our guest here is mentioning our choral director sitting in the front row, and Misty, Grandma, and Ben, the choral director, are husband and wife. And of course they have chemistry as husband and wife, but we haven't had a choral director besides myself to take a load off of me, and Ben has been doing an awesome job helping them out. And as they watch Ben get their cutoffs and their starts and everything, she's also doing that, and I was impressed with her facial expression with her quote-unquote children while she's telling them to keep believing, keep on hoping, because God is the answer. And she was doing all that at the same time. And Misty has never been in a play before, ever.
There's nothing wrong with you. Is there? You don't really have to move away, do you?
Is that what they're talking about?
And Mom and Dad?
Believing what you're saying is very important. It makes it authentic.
I don't know, buddy.
Now, the age, of course, matters. So this particular scene here, Grandpa knew how to ask like, or act like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, you know, the dementia we talked about already. But when Zeke first memorized it, sorry, Zeke,
Don't worry about that, Aaron.
he said it like he was reading it for quite a while. I'm like, Zeke, it's a question. Ask your grandpa a question. And so he's doing so awesome now. He's like, you don't have to move away. Do you? And it's really authentic.
What is it?
Grandpa?
What is it, Aaron? What is it?
Now, of course, the younger the actor, you can only give them so much at once. So people would tell me, they should do this. I'm like, yeah, I know. We'll get there. But I gave them some direction already, and they have to consume that, and then we'll move on to the next thing. And one of them is coming up right here because he's going to say, that's it, and grab Grandpa. But he wouldn't do that if he never would, like, grab him. And I'm like, what can I, what do you grab? I couldn't actually think of anything. I'm like, Zeke, you just got to grab his arm. Like you're going to pull it off him. And then he does it eventually here.
Yes, Grandpa. The sun.
I told him to yank him pretty hard tonight, too. So let's see if he yanks him off stage.
That's it, Grandpa. That's it. Keep your eyes on the sun. Come with me. I know what we need to do.
Perfect.
Have y'all seen Aaron?
Yeah, he was in the kitchen playing cards with Dad.
Not anymore.
Not again.
Obviously, they walked away. Something I missed in the Hoedown, since we have blackout for a second. One of the rules of being a director, of course, is you have to be in charge and, tell people what to do sometimes. You also have to make decisions. Rule number 86 or something like that is never work with hay. Don't have hay. So it's like right after don't work with animals, because hay gets everywhere. So we have a huge piece of plastic over there behind the hay to sort of collect it in a big tub, and everybody's supposed to don't touch the hay. In reality, we have to return it because hay is expensive nowadays, and they want their hay back. No problem, we'll give you your hay back. We'll try to give it to you all that you gave us, but there's going to be stuff stuck in the floor. And blessings to all those that will help us right after this to do all the cleanup and try to get all that hay out of here. It's the first thing to leave the building.
No, you need to stay here in case they come back.
But Pam will be here.
I wasn't even going to do it at first. I was like, nope, we're not. And somebody said, we have bales of hay coming already, right? I'm like, we do? Okay. Okay, so let's do hay. All right, let me figure out how to protect the church.
What?
Nothing.
We have a thing that I now do every year. It didn't happen until a few years ago, where I wanted to do some improv. As you teach people how to act, improv is a really good way to get them to go beyond the boundary of what they normally do, find out what they can do that they don't think they're capable of doing. So just add something weird and strange. 3 years ago we did it, and it was funny but absolute chaos. So I was like, well, that didn't quite work because we didn't keep much of that. The next year I was like, okay, what we're going to do is you can do whatever you want, except for you have to sing all the lines and say all your words.
I didn't say
You
that.
can come out in any costume you want. You can be sassy. You can be sad. You can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You'll have to play against a pirate who's talking to you as somebody who's super sad. Whatever happens, and
It's always wrong. It's better to keep my
this
mouth
particular scene this year, I did improv night again. Now I didn't do it on all the scenes because we actually cut short this year a little bit. We're actually 3 weeks earlier than we normally produce this show. A week after Thanksgiving. I don't know if such a smart idea, but here we are. We did it anyway, and we set it up, and Thanksgiving week afterwards was a little rough. So I did 3 scenes of improv, and this was one of them. You can do whatever you want. It's mostly just the 2 of them. But these 2 are hilarious. Last year when we did improv night, Ben brought voices. So he was like Lego Batman, and then he was a Valley Girl, and then he was a Southwesterner. His voice just changed over. And every time he'd come out, I'm like, I wonder what he's going to sound like. And so this year with this argument, you know, soon you'll see, I mean, it's a very powerful scene that's put you on an emotional roller coaster, which is like life, you know. Yes, it's good. No, it's not good. Yes, it's no, it's, you know. And the audience feels that, and they've pumped up the emotion in this to the level where I think it really represents reality. But improv night, they went double that. They were the picking up the pillow was from that night, because they both had the pillow and they were like throwing it really hard. You don't love me, and hitting him with it. And I was like, you're going to wreck the stage. But it was so funny, and I wish I would have videoed it, Ben and Mel. But eventually here, he gets rid of the pillow because it's distracting when he's in the kitchen. But that is just an example of something we keep.
What are you talking about, Seth? When was the last time you did anything but eat
that
or
night,
sleep around here?
Zeke Peterson came dressed as a unicorn for the evening. And so he had this floppy head bouncing up and down on the unicorn thing, flopping all over. He was trying to say his lines. But he did fine just getting all the lines in. So, no, we didn't keep the unicorn. But we did keep the passion in this. And we also kept Bev didn't have a southern accent until that night. We were trying to have her do that, and it kind of came out then, and that worked well.
There's nothing I can do. I don't know what to say to him. You and Mom, you're good with him. He doesn't need me.
We're his son. We can't.
There's another one of the little things that you don't always see. She reached for his shoulder. We didn't add that until last night.
Your mom needs you.
Ben did the same thing to her on the couch. He reached and then pulled his hand back. And she didn't do that, but we were like, well, you should mimic each other. The other person's not looking, so do the same thing. And then also, that's where the pillow throw was. But play with your ring. You know, when we first started practice, neither one of them have a ring. Neither one of them are married. So, like, you need a ring on so that we know you're, you know, and then you can fiddle with it, you know, yeah. But don't over fiddle with it, because that's all you do.
Life takes its toll.
Leaves no change.
I'm doing the best that I can. I'm trying to give you what you want.
They were giving us their best.
But I want you.
The whole time, of course, everybody does. These guys are the same. They give us their best. And so when we started about mid-season practice, in this scene, they grab hands, which makes sense as a husband and wife.
Me too.
But they're actually brother and sister, and so they started holding hands while we're doing practice. And I was like, well, I know you're actually brother and sister, so you can leave the holding of hands away until we get to production week, and then we'll work on that part. So you don't have to hold hands for a month.
I don't understand.
My mom, she said hope comes from believing. If we don't believe that God will do something about it, will He? I don't want to hurt you anymore, Pam.
Me either.
I don't think we can do this on our own.
Look at the mess we've made trying.
We have to find hope.
How?
Are you there, Jesus? Will you answer my prayer? Do you care, Jesus? Can my burdens you bear?
Jesus, bind us together, make us one with your hand. Help us love one another, that our marriage may stand. Do you care, Jesus? Can our burdens you bear? Are you there?
I don't know if you've ever thought that before, are you there, Jesus? But it was a mimic from young boy, if you're 8 or 80. You can have that question. And both of them sang pretty much the same song. And both of them need the same answer, which is Christ.
Come on. Where are we going?
More cowbells.
That can come up from time to time throughout your life, even though you know better.
Yep, even though you know better, and doubts can creep in.
Their voices really enhance each other. Yeah.
They harmonize very well.
Hear me, Lord Jesus, I ask thee to stay close by me forever and love me. I pray, bless all the dear children in thy tender care, and bid us for heaven to live with thee there.
He's got a great voice. This particular song was harder for him. He also had a cold over the last 2 weeks, and so it's even more difficult in the higher notes. This is the one we transposed to be lower, so you can see Eric is on the keyboard and not on the piano. So the keyboard could transpose it to a lower key and make it so that it's easier for Zeke to sing. But he's super cute singing that.
Maybe he'll do another miracle.
This is the miracle. Keep your eyes on the sun. This is why we have hope, Aaron. Jesus told his disciples once, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So keep your eyes on the sun.
And you will not see the shadows.
They're not up too high. It's a pretty small little stage, maybe 1.5 feet tall. And when we built the barn loft where the hay is, there's also risers back there. And I told you I covered it with plastic. Well, I was trying to make sure that people knew where things were, but it was sort of still being built. And there was a spot where there's plastic, but there's a hole. There's like a chair and a space between the riser, and I didn't get the glow sticks out yet. And so somebody stepped in the hole.
What about Grandpa?
You know, whoa!
Keep believing, Aaron.
So there's a whole bunch of glow sticks back there that are, just bright enough when the lights are out. Now, I, of course, didn't want anybody to trip, but one person did. So we got them out right away. And I'm happy from this perspective. I'm up higher looking to see if I can see the glow sticks, and you can't see them. They're over on the stairs going to the pretend upstairs, and they're over by the archway to the outside of the house and the front door. And they're definitely the step just up to the barn loft. There's a bunch right there where the person fell. Sometimes you can't prevent everything, so that barn loft, when they first walked up there, it was like a stampede of horses. So my solution, don't do that. Just walk quieter. Happiness, we all need sunshine to brighten our lives.
We all could use a little joy in our lives.
More than a day. You guys have seen it a while now. You can sing along. Jesus is the only way. Spread a little joy. Spread a little happiness. Cool. Now you're all cast for next year. Usually we stay up on the platform too. This year we did it a little bit different. We're like, the song shifts to the other one, and the finale in the middle, Keep Believing. So we were thinking with the message that we have, why don't we get really close and face to face with the audience, and we'll sing that song right next to them as we're walking by. So that's going to happen in a moment. I'm going to close my commentary because I got to go down and be ready for the final thoughts after Ben is ready and get the microphone in place. So I hope that was fun for you, and maybe next year we'll do it again. And thank you to the cast that's going to hear this later. Thank you to Sam for putting this all together and everybody behind the scenes. This phone is going to stay here, I guess, and it'll record whatever you're saying. So then Dan will come up and get it.
Didn't they do a great job? Let's hear it one more time. So my name is Ben Cockram. I attend here in a close home, and I have cerebral palsy. So if you have a hard time understanding me, that's why. The more you listen to me, the more it's easier to understand me. The longer that you know me. If you don't believe me, but my brother's here, he can hear every word. Jesus said in John 10:10 that the thief comes to steal and to destroy, but I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. How do we see in this play? We saw Aaron at the table here saying, "Are you there, Jesus? And the devil makes us question our faith. Those times where things don't go right, and we're saying, "Are you there, Jesus?" The devil comes to destroy, to have us question our faith. The devil came into Seth and Pam's life, and he made them question their marriage. Is it worth holding on to? Why not just call it quits? You all know the stats. I'm not going to repeat them, but it's not good. The goal of this play is not to guilt or shame anyone who's gone through this, but as Troy said, to give a real life representation of what happens. That's why the church exists. You're surrounded by non-perfect people that we dress up every Sunday to give word to God. We live in life groups, and most of my life group is in this play. And it's been fun to get to know them during this time. We need to pray to God, even though we sometimes praying is like a game of Marco Polo, right? Is that we pray and say, "Marco, just hoping to hear polo," but we know that God's there. We know that God hears our prayers, that He hears every cry, every word that we say, because He loves us, because we're His kids. And what father doesn't love to listen to his kids? But the play ends from keeping your eyes on the Son, the S-U-N, to keeping your eyes on the Son of God, the S-O-N. And I think it's appropriate that we end the major to, as we go in this Christmas season, to remember that this is not just something that it's a fun play over Christmas and we get to just drop everything and go home. Because the baby that was born in the manger, like that the Bible says, grew up to live a sinless life. When he was about 30, he performed his first miracle, and he was able to make the deaf hear. He made the lame walk, the blind to see, and he raised his friend from the dead. And 3 years later, he hung on the cross. He hung on the cross to pay the penalty for our sin, because the Bible says that the wages of sin is death. But the Bible is full of big buts, and I love it. It says, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. It's called the ABCs of salvation. 3 quick points. First of all, we need to admit that we're a sinner, right? We're here just a bunch of sinful people saved by the grace of God. But to admit that what we've done is sin, and it's wrong in the eyes of God, and therefore it's that separation that separates us from God. And then we need to believe in Jesus. People believe in a lot of crazy things these days, but we need to believe in Jesus, and he's not crazy. He came in as a babe to live a sinless life, to die on the cross, to believe that the punishment that he took on that cross while he hung up there was for you and for me. And Grandpa said that verse, amazing, it's in John 14. Jesus answered that I am the way, the truth, and the life, and that no one comes to the Father except through me. The way, the truth, and the life. If you want to go north out of town, 52, that's the road to go north, right? If you want a highway out of town, that's the road. Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and the life, and that no man, no woman, no person, no child comes to the Father except through me. The last point is to confess. Confess that he is Lord. Paul in the book of Philippians says that at the name of Jesus every knee will bow, in heaven and on earth and above the earth, and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Today was a play. This is all acting. But if you want to give yourself a Christmas gift, give yourself Jesus. It's not to be regifted. You can't earn it. You can't buy it. You can't be born into it. All you have to do is accept it. Just like at Christmas time, when somebody gives you a present, they've wrapped it up and they've given it to you. All you need to do is reach out, admit it, believe it, and confess it, and bring Jesus into your heart. That's the best Christmas gift that you can give to anybody. If you want to do that, I'm going to be in the back with the cast by my real wife, the grandma up here. I'm going to be back by her. And if you want to talk to somebody, please find me, and I'm going to find you one of our deacons, or we can sit and talk, because I want to show you through the Word of God how you can make that decision tonight. Before you go, can I pray for you? Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that you are Lord above and over all things. We ask you, Lord, that you would take this play, this musical, this fun time that we've had producing this thing, and make it all for your glory. It's not about us, Lord, it's all about you. And we would ask, too, Lord, that your Holy Spirit would just draw on the heartstrings of people's hearts, that if this is a time and place that they want to admit they're a sinner, believe in what you've done on the cross, and confess that you're Lord, that they can come into your family, no questions asked. So God, thank you for giving us life, and giving us life to the full. The thief comes to steal and destroy, but God, you've come that we may have life and have it to the fullest. So Jesus, we give you all the praise, all the glory, because you're worth it. It's your name that we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Was I right? Difficult situations. My life resembled much of that. I can't imagine life without Christ and the joy that I can have even in a difficult situation. Don't miss that part of the message, that even if your trouble doesn't go away, God is a peace that passes any understanding. You might have questions from your children, like I mentioned. You might have thought, do I know Christ? That's a very important one. You might think, maybe my marriage is struggling. We do have a couple of sessions this month and next month, a 4-week series. It's in your playbill. I'm going to go to it. I signed up on the back. If you'd like to sign up, that's cool. If you want to just show up, that's also cool. These are things that help us have real conversations about the real issues in our life. With that, I have just a few more things to lay out for you. One of those is that there's a tiny cost to this. You totally don't need to do anything, but we have a box in the back if you want to find that or find an usher. Up to you. If you happen to have a snowball thrown at you over there, you don't have any problems over here. Maybe you didn't even see it, but if you just throw those over to the side over there, we can collect those. That would be great. I assume you liked it. I heard you applauding. On your way, yeah, go ahead. Usually I say, tell your friends to come to the next show, but we're done for this year. That doesn't mean we'll done it forever, so maybe next year, look and listen for announcements about similar things that would be something totally unique and new. However, on your way out those doors over there, there's 3 pieces of paper that have links and QR codes, however you'd like to write it down, take a picture of it, whatever. And you can see the videos from our last 3 years. So go watch those with friends over Christmas. Bring it up on Christmas Day. Watch a Christmas play that nobody's ever seen before and share it with your family. That would be awesome as well. We are, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, this refrigerator over here, from all of the set that we have collected, things are donated and so on, and that refrigerator is one of them. It was given to the church for the play, but we don't need the refrigerator, so we'd like to give it away. There's also a sign-up sheet for that in the back. If you need a refrigerator or know somebody that needs a refrigerator, put your phone and name on there, and I will deliver it to you. How's that? At the beginning, I said there's one item up here. Any guesses? The refrigerator. No, that's never been in a play before. Not our play. It was built specifically for a previous play. I think I heard the hat rack we didn't build. The bench. Right over there, the bench is the answer. That was in our first play where the young teenage kid, he kicked it over. If you weren't here, I guess you wouldn't know. So it's hard for you to guess. But that was the answer to that question. All right. Whew. Maybe I can breathe a little bit now. But just like was said from Ben and those that give props to our cast, I'd like you to turn up the house lights so that we can give one last thank you to cast, crew, props, and set, and everybody that put this together. Woo! Come on up. So we do have one order of business, and that is to mimic the play, as I said, and give away the quilt that's now right there. So we're going to make the same people hold up this quilt that held it up in the play. Ooh, and you're supposed to be, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Total donations given, $1,710 for the Jeremiah program. That is super awesome. Also, just like the play, unexpected to the maker of the quilt, you need to come up here and join us so that you I don't have a play wife. This is my real wife.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Not play trouble, I'm in real trouble. Okay, draw out the winner. Don't look, don't look. Oh, it's random. All right. All right. Vanessa Caffrey. Are you here? You're here. Come here. Oh, sweet deal. Be careful, they might wrap you in it. You're going to become a quilt burrito. All right. Sweet deal. Oh, that is awesome. So,
all right, my turn.
Yeah,
My turn. My turn.
yes.
My turn.
Yes.
My turn.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So, we got you guys these shirts. This is yours, actually. So we all signed these shirts because they put a lot of time and a lot of work into this play, and we just really appreciate you. And we wanted to make sure you remembered this Life After Christmas. And there you go. We appreciate you, Troy.
Look, they signed it. These guys are funny. That is all we have for today. I'm so glad you came. Tell all your friends so that next year they can enjoy a show just as good as what these folks put together. Thank you for coming. Have a great evening.